Hi there, I am Melissa Morris. I am the founder and lead consultant at Agency Authority, where we help multi six figure agency owners start maximizing their team, increasing their productivity, so ultimately they can start increasing their profits. Today, I want to challenge something that I hear many of my agency owners say, and have you start thinking about these things in a little bit different way. So, here are the things that they tell me. I hear one, my team isn't accountable. They're just not being proactive. I'm constantly monitoring. I'm constantly micromanaging. I must be a bad leader. Maybe. My business just isn't scalable. This isn't a scalable model. I've been at this for years. It just requires me. I have to do everything. This is on me. I don't know about that. Um, Tools. These tools are so expensive. None of them work well. We've tried a whole bunch. Nothing seems to be working. I just don't think there's a good way to manage this. It just requires spreadsheets. Like this work just requires spreadsheets, and we have meetings, and that's just how this work needs to be managed. No, I don't think so. So these are three lies that I hear agency owners telling themselves a lot. I'm a bad leader, or some version of I have a bad team. They're not very accountable. They don't take ownership. I hear that a lot. Um, Lie number two, my business isn't scalable. This offer just isn't working. It requires me, case closed. Or three, there's just so many moving parts. We couldn't possibly get this in our project management tool. It just needs all of these spreadsheets. That's just how this business has to run. It's messy and it requires lots of emails and lots of meetings. These are all myths, but what they are actually symptoms of a poor client delivery system. So what you're actually experiencing is a poor client delivery system. It's not, there might be some team or tool stuff going on, but the core of the problem usually isn't those things when I'm working with agency owners. It's usually a poor client delivery system. And these are the symptoms that you start to see. You're getting pulled into everything. Nothing goes out the door without your eyes on it. You feel like you're overseeing every email, every question, every agenda item. Everybody's looking at you saying, "Can we send it? Is it okay? Did you get my email? Can you double check that?" Everything is running for you through you. And the reason is because you as the business owner have become the client delivery system. And that needs to stop. And when we can make that shift where you are the client delivery system and all of the standards, all of the expectations, every scope for every client is all living in your head. When that's how you're operating, you're the client delivery system. And so, yeah, it's really hard. You're not going to be able to go on vacation or step away or truly hand off those client projects because it needs a client delivery system and you've made that yourself. So, how do we fix that? Well, what we need to do is we need to remove you as the client delivery system. But we can't just remove you because, as we've seen, that does not go well. Slack goes off the charts, the emails go off the charts from the clients, meetings get scheduled. So we can't just pull you out without replacing you with something. And what we're going to replace you with is a solid client delivery system. So let me talk about what a solid client delivery system will do. A solid client delivery system is going to create a lot of clarity, not just for your team so that they can actually execute on the work without running every email, every question, every meeting agenda by you. It's going to make things really clear for your clients. And a lot of times, the reason why our clients are reaching out and sending more emails and they're asking for things that aren't included in their program or in their contract is because they're confused. They're not sure what's going on. And again, because everything is just living in the business owner's head. And so no one has the full line of sight on that. So there are a lot of questions, both internally and externally. So what we need to do is need to start getting a true container for what is going on. We need the clarity. And then what are the parameters that everybody can move around in to successfully fulfill those objectives, right? When when do you need to have a team member phone you in? What do you need to approve, right? These are the questions that you need to answer and get really clear about with your team, because when they don't know and everything's feeling haphazard and sometimes you're in a meeting, sometimes you're not in a meeting, sometimes you want to see a report, sometimes you don't want to see a report, it's no wonder they're afraid to move without telling you. But if you can start to create a container and let them know, these are the things that I need to see, these are the things I don't need to see, this is why I need to see what I need to see, then they feel more confident. They feel equipped to actually go and start making some decisions without you. So the key to that is just expectations. Like, you have to make sure you're setting clear expectations. So we need to be very specific about what we're delivering. That's the clarity I was talking about. And then we need to make sure we're setting expectations. How does your team know they're doing a good job? How does the client know they're getting everything that was included? These standards, expectations. That's how that starts to that supports the clarity that we're giving them and allows people to move around and know how to operate without asking you every single question. So we need clarity, we need expectations and standards, and then we do need the documentation to support that. So that can look like your standard operating procedures, that can look like your best practice documents. These are your workflows that you're setting up in your project management tool. So these are the pieces that actually help me understand and document some of those points of clarity, some of those standards, and some of those expectations. It's really the documentation piece that's going to support all that, so that we have something to look back to. We have something that we can direct our team members to if they're going astray. If we're having reviews, we can look back at those. And that's how we know we are being a good leader and showing up like we need to, because everybody can reference the same source of truth and know that this is what we're looking for and what the standard is. So what is the best way to start working on these things and start improving your client delivery system? I always recommend that you start by first looking at what your current clients have. Like, what does that service offer look like? Do each of your clients have a really custom offer? Does it feel really bespoke? Does it feel really all over the place? Um, have you clearly documented what the scope is, the deliverables, or have you kind of been running by the seat of your pants a little bit? And no doubt your clients are happy, but you're kind of making it up as you go along. That's really tough for another team member to step in and execute on when you're making it up as you go along. So there really needs to be very clear scope and deliverables. So start there, start with your current agreements and start to outline, is it really clear? Like, is there a project plan in place that someone truly understands also? Like, a project plan can't be 2 bullet points that say, strategy and support with their branding or their digital marketing. That could mean 100 things to any one individual. I need to understand it's X number of calls, it's X number of hours of support. These are the type of topics that we're going to talk about. These are the objectives that we're moving towards. These are the goals of this project. What is the transformation that I'm promising these clients? Now we're starting to get to something tangible that somebody else can actually take off your plate and start to execute. So that's your first step, is start to figure out, do I have a clear enough project plan that I could give this to somebody and they truly understand what they're supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do? And then that's your first high layer map. From there, that's where you start to add in your standard operating procedures, your best practices documents, because that's really going to start to add more detail and more specifics to your project plan. So for example, if we do agree that 2 reports are included, well, what your team then needs is, what is an example of a great report? Is a great report 4 pages, 8 pages? Is it paragraphs? Is it charts? Is it bullet points? Because that's where we need to start getting specific. And that's what your SOP starts to look like. A great report will answer these 4 things for the client. It will include at least 2 graphs or charts, and it will always reference historical data, whatever. Well, now I know I have completed a report to success in the standard, because that's very clear. So that's part 2 of it is, okay, what are the SOPs? How do I know I have completed this task successfully? And then the final part of that is getting it set up in your project management tool. How can I track and manage? So as a business owner, if I know my team members working on one of these reports, how do I know if they've started it? If it's out with a client, are they stuck? Is it on hold? Are they working on it? Where can I get the information to understand if this is on track or if it's really off track and how we're making progress on it? And that's where your project management tool comes into play. So a successful client delivery system is going to have three things. It's going to have clarity, like it's going to have very specific deliverables. It's going to have clear standards and expectations. That's number one. Number two is it's going to have standard operating procedures. It's going to have templates. It's going to have documentation to support those standards and get really specific about what success looks like. And then step number three, you have to have a way to track and monitor progress, and that's going to be in your project management tool. So if you can get these three things in place, then you will start to see that you don't need to be involved in every email. You don't need to oversee every report, documentation, every ad, every whatever. People will understand what they're supposed to do, and then now they can actually be held accountable. And now we can actually step away as the business owner and know that things are running as they should be. If you have questions about your client delivery system, I'd love to hear them. Drop them in the comments. You can also head over to youragencyauthority.com/call and book your free 30-minute call with me, and I will take a look at your current delivery system and tell you where I see improvements.